Hi, we're going to be focusing now on that very important concept called the reflex arc. Grade 12s, it comes up again and again and again, paper after paper in that final exam. So please make sure that you understand this. It's actually hugely simple. A reflex is a kind of nervous reaction that is brought about spontaneously. You don't have to think about it. For example, if you put your hand on a hot plate or something that is really, really hot, you're going to pull your hand away and your body doesn't have to think about, gee, should I pull my hand away? What's that I smell burning? That isn't something that happens. You immediately pull your hand away. If somebody pricks your finger, you immediately pull your finger away. You don't have to think about it. So a reflex does not involve the brain. A message goes from the outside stimulus, where it is sensed, and it moves to the spinal cord, and an immediate reaction is sent from the spinal cord back to your arm or your leg to bring about an instantaneous response. So that's the first thing you must remember about the reflex arc. It goes from sense organ to spinal cord back to muscle. It does not involve the brain. You don't have to think about pain. You just react to it immediately, because generally those are the things that are going to cause your body harm. If it's sore, if it's causing pain, it's going to harm your body. And so it's like your brain doesn't even have to think about it. Your spinal cord can make that decision. Move your hand out of the way. Take it off the hot plate. Move it away from the thing that is hurting it. So let's have a look at this reflex arc. And we say that it's an arc because in moving from sense organ to spine back to muscles, it produces, well, on its side, a bit of an arc or a semicircle. So let's have a look at it. We've got a sensory receptor cell. Let's imagine that you have been pricked on your finger by a pin. That receptor cell is going to be in your finger, and it's going to be a pain receptor. That message, the pain, is going to be reflected along the sensory nerve, the sensory neuron, to your spinal cord. In your spinal cord, there's going to be a little connector neuron, and immediately the information is going to be passed along a motor neuron to your muscle. And your muscle of your arm is going to pull your hand away from that pin that is pricking your finger. So the sensory nervous system picks up this, or senses that there's something wrong. The motor neuron is connected to the muscle. Easy to remember, M for motor neuron, M for muscle. The muscle is going to be your effector. It's going to bring about a result, and that is what we call the reflex arc. Now, we looked at three different nerves: a sensory nerve, an interneuron or a connector neuron, and a motor neuron. And if we have a look, these three different structures that nerves could have. Some nerves are what we call bipolar. That means they've got two poles or ends to them. The cell body is found in the middle, and we've got two ends or two branches of that nerve cell body. A unipolar nerve, if we have a look, the cell body is to the side, and whilst it looks like there's two ends, there's in fact just one pole, because the nerve body is taken out of this central line and it's moved to the side. And a multipolar has many different ends into a central body and then along an axon to some kind of effector. The sensory neuron The interneuron and the motor neuron are the three different kinds of nerves or neurons that are involved in this reflex arc. And if we had to draw it a little more detailed, we'll see that the synaptic endings are going to are right at the end. We've kind of reversed this around. This is going to be here in your spinal cord. And here is the receptor system inside your skin. It's going to pass the message along a unipolar sensory nerve all the way into the spinal cord. The interneuron is going to be a very interesting multipolar neuron, and we're going to then go back to the motor neuron, which is also going to pick up the information from the interneuron and is going to pass it along to the muscle cells, and the muscle cells will all be energized to contract and to pull your hand away from the stimulus, and this is another multipolar neuron. And that, in essence, is the reflex arc. Your terminology is important. You need to know sensory to interneuron to motor. You need to know that the sensory connects to the sense organ, the motor neuron to the muscle. And that's it for today. Thank you very much. See you next time.